Gotcha. All ready to go.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Armed Forces Community Covenant meeting. We'll start with agenda 1. Apologies for absence.
Yeah, I got quite a few, Chair. I got Christine Morell, Rom Deadman, Alison Pugh, Debbie Hamer, Alex Bahari, Karen Furlow, Nick Vanderpump, Hugh Williams and Rodri Jones.
Thank you. Agenda item 2, disclosures of personal and prejudicial interest of members. Anybody? No. Agenda item 3, minutes. Have everybody had a little quick look and have you read them? Everybody okay with them? Thank you.
Thumbs up. No, it's not working. Sorry, Chair.
I'll ask them. Could you mute yourselves, please, because there's feedback here.
Right, that's everyone now, yeah.
Agenda item number 4 is booths on the ground, and welcome Mel Watts if you'd like to chat to us. Where's he going?
You'll have to unmute yourself, Melvin. There he is.
Melvin?
No, he's dropped out for some reason.
I think he had to jump off. He put a message in the bar that he had a bereavement and he had to jump off.
Oh no.
Okay.
He might come back and we'll see, otherwise we'll invite him again. Item agenda 5, Beth and Denedy, welcome to the Covenant and welcome to your new job. Would you like to say a few words?
Is hello enough? I haven't started officially until next week, so this is all still very new to me.
Well, just introduce yourself and what you are then.
So I'm Beth then. I'm currently the Community Cohesion Officer in Neath Talbot, so I will be taking on the new role for Regional Armed Forces Covenant Liaison Officer for Neath Talbot, Bridgend and Swansea. So this is the first meeting of this kind that I've attended. I've started to get to meet a couple of people. I've got some meetings lined up for when I start officially to get the induction underway. So looking forward to getting to know everybody and getting on with the job.
Great. So we look forward to next week, and then you'll be able to give us a lowdown on everything.
I'm sure I will.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Agenda item 6 is update from MD. Hugh Williams. You there, Hugh?
Yeah,
Yes.
hi there. Good afternoon. So this is my first meeting now since taking over from Chris Evans at the end of April. I officially started in the chair on the 12th of June. So I'm really looking forward to being part of this committee and hopefully helping out wherever I can. An update on where we are as a unit. We are now conducting face-to-face training. Okay, but we're utilising our COVID risk assessment to ensure that we're meeting all the necessary safety standards, and we're not putting any of our boys and girls at risk. All our personnel, so Chris briefed last time that I think there was 5 or 6 unit personnel were deployed supporting the NHS and various other organisations in the delivery of COVID support. They've all now returned back into the regiment, and most of them are now back in training again, which is good news there. As a unit, we've been as proactive as we can in relation to starting up regenerating the recruiting campaign to try and get individuals interested in 1, the Army Reserve, 2, the Army, but 3, the wider services, to hopefully get more people interested and enrolling into the services as a way of life. On Friday, I've got a meeting with the Crossing Borders Young People Group down in the the Grand Theatre. So we're looking at assisting them with an initiative over the summer holidays, bringing people in from various different community groupings and bringing them together by conducting some form of physical activity. But we'll cover that when we speak with them on Friday morning. So that's that piece there. Like I said, first meeting, really looking forward to being part of this. I know Chris had quite a significant success, and please, if you need anything, give me a shout and I'll assist wherever I can.
Thank you, Hugh. Excellent work. Thank you for your report. Item 7, Swansea Bay University Board. Steve Spill.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair. My colleague Victoria is also here, I see, so she may want to
Yes, I saw
to add
Victoria.
a few
I was
words.
going to ask her as well.
Okay, so I've been given this. I chair the Armed Force Forum within Swansea Bay. We held our last meeting back in May, well attended. I guess the key things to report are we're carrying out a workforce survey to find a way to identify our veterans and our reservists and people who have military connection. You know, we've got 12,500 people in the health board. We don't really know how many of them have a military background or military connections. So we're undergoing a survey of everybody to find out what connection they have, so we can give more information when we get the results of that. Our workforce and OD, that's the HR department, they've started again to look at the work that needs to be done to get us the gold employer recognition status. That was in plan for last year, but COVID, etc., put too much pressure on the system, and so the timescales were missed. But we're picking that up again. And we're also developing the CAMS, that's the Children and Adolescent Mental Health Service, and you know, it's very important for all children and adolescents, but you know, in particular in this forum, we have a focus on the children of forces families. So that's work in progress, but it's picking up again now that we can kind of get back to something close to normality. In terms of artificial limb service, it's not only for veterans, obviously, but it's a significant proportion of our clients are veterans. So we've increased the number of clinicians that we have. The actual prosthetic clinicians who can do the do the mechanics. Sorry, they can do the prescribing and the design. We've increased that number from 3 to 5. The technicians, those are the guys who build the things, and that's numbers increased from 5 to 7. And physiotherapists, very important in post-treatment recovery. Those numbers have increased by 1. And we're still recruiting more because we've got some funds in order to do that. I guess what else? Yeah, I think that's all. I think that's a decent update for now. I was pleased to attend a flag raising ceremony as part of Armed Forces Week in Neath Talbot a few weeks ago. So that was good to get out and see a few uniformed colleagues out in the open air watching the flag go up. So that's from me. I don't know, Victoria, if you want to add anything from your perspective.
Yep, sure. Are you ready for me now?
Yes.
Okay, fabulous. So thank you for inviting me today. So over the last 3 months, we've had a total of 34 referrals, of which 27 have opted into our service. Now, the reason I tell you those two figures is we've gone from opting in. So once you've been referred into our service, we ask people to send us back information to confirm their service. We used to do that over the post. Now we do that online. And what we're seeing is a big increase in people coming back to us because they can now do it online. So we're very pleased about that. We had our last clinical network meeting, which was just last week. We have that every quarter, and that's an ongoing meeting which I chair, and we find that very helpful for getting all third sector agencies involved. So if there's anyone here today that think they would like to come to our meeting, please let me know, and we can invite you to the next one, which I think is in November. As far as recent events, we have recently been successful in looking to digital inclusions. We've managed to get hold of 10 devices, so 10 tablets, for veterans to now access therapy online. And the reason I heard about those Pathway Finder devices was from someone mentioning it in this meeting. So thank you very much, because whoever mentioned it, I then went away and found out more about it. And because of that, we've now got veterans being able to access online therapy if they don't have access to a tablet or a phone. And that's more frequent than you would think. I recently attended the radio station, The Waves Armed Forces Day, and I was asked to present my research, and that went down very well. I was pleased to be able to attend that. I've also been asked to attend the opening of an allotment in Bagland. Now this is a project which is partly supported by the Bulldogs in Bagland, and we're finding that it's great for people who want to get out and get involved in the veterans community, and I've been able to refer a few people into that, and it's just a fantastic project if you can have a look at what they're doing. Something that Swansea could really do with, I think. It's great. As far as research, there is a randomised control trial waiting to start within Veterans NHS Wales. So that is like the gold standard of research, looking at a type of therapy called EMDR, and we're going to look at the benefits of EMDR online versus EMDR face-to-face. So I'm an EMDR consultant, and I've asked to supervise and be involved with that. I've also am just coming to the end of my research into EMDR for combat-related PTSD. And I'm going to hopefully get that published, but we're looking at least a year yet. I think that's probably about it, and that's enough, I would say. The only thing I would like to ask is, do we have a new AFLO yet, or is there one coming soon?
Yeah, well, it was Beth, yeah, sort of. Beth and Danetti, she just introduced herself earlier.
Do you know what? When she was talking, I didn't actually understand what, because did she say Armed Forces Liaison Officer? Because that's what I was listening for.
Yeah, the full title is not AFLO. Yeah.
I am so sorry. I was listening to you thinking, what does that mean? It didn't register in my mind.
No, I know there's so many acronyms, and that one's not even the same as this. Yeah, it's never mind.
Right, Beth, we need to connect then. That would be great to speak to you. And I promise I am listening. I was listening.
I think it's the acronym. I can't stand them, so I say it in full. So probably that's where you got confused.
But it's been in my head, so it's great to know that she's there.
Yeah, she is there, and she'll be at the next meeting. She'll be in full flow, we hope. Thank you, Victoria. Seems everything's going ahead as when we had the SBOHB meeting. It was. I can see the progress.
Fabulous.
Thank you. Who wasn't it? Steve, sorry.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you both. Agenda item number 8 is supporting pupils from service families. Yasmin?
I don't think she's present.
Rodri?
No, Rodri's giving his apologies. Yasmin's hoping to join, so maybe we'll come back to it.
We will come back to that one if they join. Okay, so update from panel members. Who would like to go first? Anybody got any updates? Phil, you said you had something? Hello?
Me?
Yes.
Just testing, yeah. It's not often you speak to me, unless you tell me off. No, there's a few things really. Remembrance, obviously the dates and COVID have played a huge impact on all our remembrance events in the past. By the end of the week, we'll have a list of dates that will be coming out for this year. And obviously invites for everybody in the covenant, and if you need names seating, then obviously we've got plenty of time to organise that with through myself and obviously Wendy. The festival in the Brangwyn Hall is unlikely to take place in relation to the ongoing matters of COVID, but St Mary's is likely to take place, so that will be a positive. The other thing is, and I've had a meeting with the Armed Forces champion, and she was concerned that possibly we start looking at next year for the air show and the Armed Forces Day, obviously with Emma and the City and County of Swansea fully on board. It looks like the Armed Forces Day is going to be a separate issue now outside the Guildhall, because that went exceptionally well. A few things to learn from it, but maybe to expand on that, to have, you know, a huge representation of cadets and reserve forces there, similarly to what we previously did in Castle Square. So, you know, make it an event for the day, and it's probably the right thing that Armed Forces Day is a separate issue and maybe not joined into the air show, but everybody's got their opinions on that. And then, you know, a standalone commemoration and celebration of our armed forces in the air show is another idea that's come through from Emma, the council, and Wendy. So you know, we will be asking questions very soon and asking for your advice, which we'll amalgamate and come back to you on. But I think, you know, we really need to start looking at that. Obviously, Hugh from 223 is going to play a massive role in that. So I think it's I need a meeting with you, Hugh. I think I've missed an email, but I'm not perfect. Obviously, I'm in the junior sort of staff with the RAF, so you know we will organise that. So yeah, getting involved, getting organised really early, so we know what we want, in what representation do you want at the air show? What can we do with Emma? The impact you want. So that's something we need to look at. You know, really starting now. Great to see Hugh. I'll come back to Hugh again. Great to have you on board. Brilliant. And Neil Tomlin with the RAF Benevolent Fund. We need a meeting. I owe you a meeting in relation to the cadet forces for the RAF Benevolent Fund, because restrictions have been lifted a lot with the cadet forces. And I'd be keen maybe to get the 3 cadet forces together. And a question that's been asked of me, are the cadet forces signatories on the covenant? You know, cadet forces play a major role in the community. Should they have the opportunity to become signatories to support the armed forces within their own community? And I think there's a you know a really good reason for that. And on September the 11th, there's a big motorcycle rally on behalf for the Poppy Appeal, which has been postponed with the restrictions, and that's on Saturday the 11th of September. MMPs have come on board to support it, and that's going to finish in the Owl's Nest in Llandovery. And we've got people like the Outlaws, the RBL bikers, Armed Forces bikers. They've said they'll get involved, but I need to contact them. So I think it's looking forward, and as I said, Wendy is a visionary, really, to look at what we need to do and do it really early, especially with Armed Forces Day and the air show. So, you know, as much advice and you can give us, then I'm sure myself, Hugh, and Wendy and the whole team really will have a look at that with Emma as well, because she's the yes or no person in this from the council. She looks nice, but she's it's a bit of a devil really. But yeah, so that's about it really. It's all positive to look forward to next year and plan well in advance. So you know, we do the covenant justice, not only from the armed forces side but from the council as well.
Thank you, Phil. You've got a lot of emails to get round, but don't forget, because
okay,
we're all waiting for your email. And
I know.
Emma's face when you said about 2 air show and armed forces, she went white.
I've spoken to David about it. He's obviously very keen to keep Armed Forces celebration as part of the air show, because we have such great support from the services. And I discussed the possibility of us holding the standalone event flag raising the week before on Armed Forces Day, and he said he's happy to have those discussions to look at that, but he's very keen on keeping an Armed Forces celebrations as part of the air show.
Yeah, I agree with you, Emma, because the 26th just went down so well, and you know what it was like. It was amazing, and that's the comments I get off veterans. You're not holding it on the right day, so I can understand the 2 points. It wasn't that expensive to do outside. I wouldn't have thought, and the air show needs to be the celebration of armed forces, doesn't it? You know, you've got to keep something there, because it is, you know, it will go down really well. And we are known for it being in the air show, aren't we? So I think hopefully we can do the two, but we will wait and see what David's discussions with us are.
Yeah, I think it's more to do with staff resource. So I don't think he'd want the 26th to be another very large event. He was happy with the flag raising as it was this year, but I don't think we'd have the staff resource to build on that, as well as doing the air show as well.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Steve, thank you.
Steve Fry?
Yeah, good afternoon. Just a quick question from me, if I may. It's one I raised with the Lord Lieutenant. Just a general one on Swansea City Council and Armed Forces Day. I am aware that other cities, towns around the country, and in fact around the UK, celebrate Armed Forces Week, and they start that celebration on the Monday. I believe Swansea this year raised the flags on the Saturday, by which time some of the other events of Armed Forces Week had already come and gone. For example, being a reservist myself, Reserves Day was on the Wednesday of the week leading up to the Saturday of Armed Forces Day. And I was wondering, firstly, you know, if there's good reason and justification for that, that's absolutely fine. Or, you know, is it something that we could look at doing to celebrate the week rather than the day? Over.
Can I just answer you that, Steve? We raised the flag on the Monday. We raised the English flag on the Monday. It was the Welsh flag that was raised at the ceremony. And we did do a week of different things. Afternoon tea with a veteran, which I and the Lord Mayor attended. There were several things. We did videos because of the situation we're in. So there was that week-long, you know, I don't know whether that could happen when we're all back to normal, but it worked quite well, I think, for the week of.
I must
admit, it's just that you haven't been looking on Swansea Council website.
No, I admit it's one of the social media feeds that I don't follow, but I will.
Good, I see your point, but we have done it. You know, we're not left out in the cold. We do things here.
But then partners want to organise something.
Yeah, well, if partners want to organise something, that's great. If you know, come up with things next year.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up on the event on the Saturday. I do follow quite a lot of social media feeds, but I must admit I didn't pick up on anything else. But you know, that's down to me to look more.
You need to look at my Facebook page more often.
Could I just come in on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the council wanted to organise other events as well, one of which would have been the unveiling of the Lord Mayor's Cadet, which is likely now to be Lord Mayor's Cadets. It's going for voting, so there'd be an Army, Sea and Air Cadets. So I know that was one of the days that they were going to organise an event, but there were others as well. So you know, it would have been a more fuller week, but you know, we have got restrictions as well. But you know, point taken. I thought it went well the week.
Yes, it did. And the cadets for the Lord Mayor have gone through council, so that's something we would have held that week, but it will be whenever we can get it sorted now. But it's I think Swansea Council did us proud with the resources and the COVID. So it's all videos, but not a lot of action this year, but things may be different next year. Would anybody else like to give any updates or ask any questions of anybody?
Yeah, Chair, can I come in? It's Sarah, it is, from the DWP.
Yes, Sarah.
So I'm not sure if any of you were aware, some of you may be from other groups that we've been in. So the DWP brought in 11 national armed forces leads across DWP, and that being me for Wales, and I have they brought in then 50 Armed Forces champions across the UK. So within Wales we've got 3 champions, so there's one covering Southwest Wales, one covering Southeast, and then North and Mid. So our roles will be, my role will actually be working with network of Armed Forces champions, building capability and knowledge across DWP, and then working with partners on other organisations. And then the Armed Forces champions, they'll have a caseload of complex customers. So they'll be dealing with claims, supporting veterans into work, and then also helping resolve complex cases where necessary. They'll also be building capability locally so that all staff can be champions for Armed Forces, and then again working with partners and organisations. So if anybody would like any more details or come in and have a chat with us, give us more information about your organisations, that would be absolutely fabulous. I have reached out to people that I'm aware of so far, but if I haven't reached out to you yet and you'd like to get involved with us or give us more information on how we can work together, then that would be great.
Thanks, Sarah, that's amazing.
Thank you.
David Griggs, SAFA.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry I'm late joining the meeting. I had to reboot my computer to get in.
That's okay.
Just a couple of things. I've been a member of SAFA for about 27 years, and I was the chairman of Dyfi branch. I was looking for a relief and I couldn't find one, so we amalgamated with West Glamorgan to become SAFA South West Wales, and then David Signatory, the chairman, resigned. So I've now got the whole bloody lot. Anyway, we're still here. The branch is being run from the Reserve Forces Centre in Alamine Road, next to Liberty Stadium. And our branch area now is from Borth in the north to Port Talbot in the east to Milford Haven in the west. But we're still here operating. Because of COVID, most of our formays have been completed remotely, but we are starting to get back to face if the client and the caseworker are happy to do it. So I just wanted really to introduce myself and let you know I'm here. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Thank you very much. Thank you. Anyone else? Neil, nice to see you.
And you, thank you very much. It was just really to let you know and let the members know that the revised guide to our services, which is a really handy little reference document, has now gone to print. And Victoria, I'm conscious I owe you copies from our discussion last week. I've had some difficulty downloading it, unfortunately, but we're there now. So it's a really useful document which has gone to reprint because we've actually been adjusting our services as we've been stepping through COVID. We've got more resource going into things such as mental health and isolation and loneliness, particularly amongst the veteran community. So the new, the new brochure, the new little guide is out there. I'd be delighted to send it across. Is Gareth the best person to send a copy to?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Get it out there.
That's really kind of you. And as I say, please feel free. It's a PDF version. If anybody would like hard copies, if they would be useful for any of your areas where you have people dropping in now that we're coming out of lockdown, then do just let me know, because I can arrange for hard copies to be available for waiting rooms and things like that. So I'll get that out this afternoon to you. Just an update really on what I've been doing on behalf of the Benevolent Fund in the region since we last spoke. So I've had some very good responses thanks to meetings like this and with Victoria's meeting as well. I've been engaged with the prison service really for two reasons. First of all, of course, there are sadly some people incarcerated who are ex-military. They're every bit as eligible for our support. We're not a judgmental charity, so we need to make sure that they are aware that we're here to support them, but importantly also their families, who from my experience, having visited people in prison, the families sometimes are in the more difficult situation. Our support is there for them. So I've been doing some work with the prison service and probationary services. The other thing, just to pick up on some points made by the NHS earlier from Steve, we are finding now that the NHS are reaching out to us in the way that they were before COVID-19. And again, we can provide briefings, presentations to NHS staff, again looking not just at those who may come into contact with veterans as patients, but of course there are also an awful lot of people from the armed forces now working within the NHS, and I found that in the area where I live in southeast England. So yeah, we're very much available. I'm planning on coming over to Wales now to meet a number of people who I've only met virtually so far, but if anybody thinks it would be useful to get a presentation from the RAF Benevolent Fund, please do get in contact with me. I'd be very happy to come across and to meet and engage with any of you, either individually or with the groups which you represent, and just sort of get that message of support from the fund. We are still here. It's business as usual. It has been throughout lockdown, but importantly, we just need to make sure that people are aware that we're here. So thank you very much indeed. That's all for me for the moment.
Thank you, Neil. That's good news all round, and that's why I like this Covenant meeting. I think everybody gets in touch with everybody else and things progress that way. So thank you. I wish I could come and meet you because I've only met you virtually.
Hopefully not too long.
No, we'll see you one day. We'll see you one day. Thank you. I can see Yasmin's on now. I got an update, but I'll wait till Yasmin have spoken if you want to.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thank you for having me. Sorry for my late arrival. We've had an event in Pembrokeshire for the service children there, so I've just come back from that. So it's been a really lovely morning. It's been nice to be out and about. For those of you that haven't met me, I'm Yasmin. I'm the Regional School Liaison Officer for Service Children based in West Wales. I cover Pembrokeshire, Ceredigion, Carmarthen, Neath Port Talbot and Swansea as well. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen, I'll run through some slides in relation to SSE Cymru updates, and also provide you some updates which are relevant to the Swansea Local Authority, if that's okay.
Is it going to be a long presentation?
Shall I just give you the Swansea update?
Please.
Sorry, Yasmin, are they bilingual slides?
They're not, unfortunately.
You won't be able to share them. I'm sorry. If you send them to me after the meeting, I'll decide with them. But you can't. Everything needs to be done bilingually on screen, I'm afraid.
Not to worry. What I'll do is I'll just give you a quick run through of what we've had going on then in the local authority. Let me just find the relevant slide there. Here we go. There we go. So yeah, just to give you a bit of an overview really of the amount of service children that we have. So far we've identified 114 service children in 34 schools. When we last met, probably sort of March time, we only had 92. So we've done really well there really to have identified some more service children within the local authority. We've got another sort of 43% of schools outstanding. So we have done well so far, considering it is almost, I suppose, a gesture of goodwill. There is no formal data collection for service children. In terms of school visits and what I've been doing, I've been working with the schools. So I've completed 20% of those initial school visits in Swansea, and that is just me introducing my role, explaining about the Regional School Liaison Officer, but also explaining to them about the experiences of service children, their needs, and making them aware of what support's available. So we do have obviously Welsh Government funding available, so we use that to support the schools, but we also share information about the other funding streams that are available to them. We recently, I say recently, sort of April, March time, started delivering monthly CPD sessions. The uptake there has been really, really good. So we've had 6 schools complete that so far within the local authority. We launched the CPD presentations during April, which was Month of the Military Child. And we did a whole week of those there. And again, the engagement was really good. And we've decided that what we want to do is run them every single month. and just get schools and teaching staff involved in that, and just basically encourage them to really start thinking about their service children's experiences and how that they can go about supporting them. So really positive start really where we are in Swansea. As you all know, I work really closely with Rodri Jones, and I've now started working with Pam Cole in the local authority. And that's been on the action plan, the local authority funding plan, sorry. So we've delivered really quite a bit of that. That included lots of information about school visits, so, and engaging with the RSLO. We also wanted to create a service child network of the schools. So what we wanted to do was create that network of school staff to come together who are really wanted to support their service children and share their thoughts and their best practice there. So we haven't quite got to that yet, but we're hopeful that we'll do that sort of at the start of September. That'll be something that we'll be looking to do. And then in terms of moving forward with those funding plans, we're hoping we'll have confirmation of the Welsh Government funding. Hopefully this week. We have been hoping this since sort of the start of July. We haven't yet had confirmation, but we're really keen once that confirmation comes through that we'll start working with the schools and really encouraging them to think about what's best for their service children in their school and how we can go about supporting those there. So I'll keep you posted obviously in further meetings about the work that the schools have decided to carry out and how we go about doing that, and also confirm an amount of funding that is there basically for the service children. One thing that I'm hoping to work on, and I'm hoping I'll be able to work with you, Councillor Lewis, on this, the local authority action plan. I know we spoke about it earlier this year, but plans haven't kind of come together to get the right people in a room, basically. But that action plan will just work through different areas, such as identifying service children in the local authority. It'll also work on admissions and admissions, also just service people and engaging with SSE currently. So I think that gives a bit of an overview of what we've got going on in Swansea. And hopefully, like I said, the engagement's been really good so far, and I'm hoping we will move forward with that and continue that really good engagement.
Thank you, Yasmin. Well done.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Melvin hasn't come back.
No. Okay. Invite him to.
I'll just give the update from my side. After much persuasion and battering from me, we've in Swansea Council have adopted all the memorials in the city that aren't Swansea owned, which will help the associations greatly. I'm so pleased and that this is going to happen, because it just means that when last man standing, they know that that they are going to be looked after by the city. So I'm really pleased about that. And the other one, 25,000 has been earmarked to support veterans, but discussion at a later date with the leader will decide on how it's spent and the priorities. So it's good news, but we've just got to work out which way it can be spent. So, you know, nothing's on the table at the moment, just the money. Anybody else? Any questions? No?
No.
Okay, thank you so much for attending, everybody. And the next meeting is Monday, the 8th of November at 2 p.m. Okay?
Just before you go, ma'am, are you the Armed Forces champion for Swansea?
Who's asking?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. In the near future, in the next 6 weeks, we hope to have a SAFA, hope to have an annual general meeting somewhere probably in Carmarthenshire. Would you be available to attend? People like Paul Hinge and David Jenkins and other Armed Forces champions from the other counties come. So would you like to come as well?
Well, hopefully I can. Just send me the invite and see. Thank you, David.
Could you put your email address on the chats for me? That would be very good. Or somebody. Your people.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.